I will attend the Høgskolen in Molde, a place where my dreams were meant to unfold, where my knowledge was supposed to grow, and where I was supposed to find my tribe. But little did I know, this institution had other plans for me. As I walked through the gates, I felt an eerie feeling, a sense of unease that I couldn't shake off. The campus was isolated, surrounded by nothing but trees and hills. I soon realized that I was trapped in this remote location, with no signs of civilization in sight. The lack of urban amenities made me feel like a prisoner, stuck in a place that was not designed for students like me. My first encounter with the administration was a disaster. I tried to communicate with them, but it was like speaking to a brick wall. They were unresponsive, unhelpful, and completely disinterested in my concerns. I felt like I was talking to robots, programmed to repeat the same generic responses without any empathy or understanding. I soon realized that they were not there to support me, but to simply carry out their bureaucratic duties. The lecturers were no better. They read from their slides like robots, without any passion or enthusiasm. It was like they were just going through the motions, collecting their paychecks without any concern for the students' well-being. The teaching methods were outdated, and the coursework was irrelevant to the real world. I felt like I was stuck in a time warp, learning things that would never be useful in my future career. The accommodation was another nightmare. The student dorms were overpriced, basic, and poorly maintained. I felt like I was living in a hostel, not a university dorm. The food was terrible, and the social life was non-existent. I was a stranger in a strange land, struggling to find my place in this alien environment. The career services were a joke. They had no connections with the industry, no resources to help us find internships or jobs. It was like they expected us to figure everything out on our own, without any guidance or support. I felt like I was abandoned, left to navigate the treacherous waters of the job market without a lifeline. But the worst part was the grading system. It was inconsistent, unfair, and arbitrary. I felt like my grades were dependent on the lecturer's mood, not on my actual performance. It was like they were playing God, deciding who would pass and who would fail, without any regard for the students' efforts or hard work. I soon realized that I was not alone in my struggles. The other students were facing the same problems, and we were all suffering in silence. We were like sheep being led to the slaughter without any voice or agency. We were forced to accept the status quo, to surrender to the whims of the administration and the lecturers, but I refused to give up. I decided to take a stand, to speak out against the injustices and the inefficiencies of the system. I started to write reviews, to share my experiences with the world. I wanted to warn others, to spare them the pain and the suffering that I had endured. And that's when I realized that I was not alone. There were others like me who had gone through the same struggles and the same disappointments. We were a community, a tribe of disgruntled students who had been let down by the system. We were the victims, and the Høgskolen in Molde was the perpetrator. So I ask you, dear listeners, have you ever felt like you were trapped in a system that was designed to fail you? Have you ever felt like you were just a number, a statistic, a mere commodity? Then join me in my crusade against the Høgskolen in Molde, against the injustices and the inefficiencies that plague our education system. Let us rise up, let us speak out, let us demand change, for we are the students and we deserve better.
Businesses near Høgskolen in Molde are, to put it mildly, a mixed bag of disappointment. If you are expecting quality service, fair prices, or even basic cleanliness, you might want to lower those expectations. The area suffers from a pattern of neglect, poor management, and an overall lack of care for customers. Let us break it down so you know exactly what you are walking into. First, shopping centers near the university are not exactly what you would call welcoming. AMFI Roseby, for example, has a reputation for being claustrophobic, poorly designed, and outright depressing. The architecture feels like it was planned by someone who had never seen a functional shopping center before. Narrow walkways, hidden elevators that even wheelchair users struggle to find, and bathrooms that look like they have not been cleaned in years. Then there is the issue of safety, homeless individuals wandering around, talking loudly to themselves, sometimes even filming people without consent. The parking fees are just the final insult, making sure you pay for the privilege of a bad experience. Now, if you thought a spa would be a safe escape from all this, think again. Sailit Spa is the kind of place that charges premium prices for what feels like a half-hearted attempt at luxury. The facilities are often broken, the water is dirty, and the relaxation areas are so cold you might as well be sitting in a storage room. The staff seem more interested in upselling you products than actually providing a relaxing experience. And do not even get started on the damp, musty smell coming from the steam rooms, like someone forgot to change the water for weeks. For the amount of money they charge, you would expect at least a functioning locker, but no, even those are hit or miss. Food options are no better. Molde AS is a place where you pay far too much for far too little. The sandwiches are so skimpy on ingredients you might wonder if the kitchen is rationing chicken like it is gold. Service is slow, bordering on indifferent, and if you dare ask for something simple, like moving a chair, you might get scolded before you even sit down. The prices are high, the portions are small, and the attitude from staff makes you feel like you are inconveniencing them by existing. Then there are the bars. Sid Cocktails Vin has a special talent for making customers feel unwelcome. If you are not there to drink alcohol, good luck. Ordering a simple coffee is treated like a crime. The service is slow, the staff can be rude, and there are multiple reports of discrimination, with some guests feeling targeted for no clear reason. It is the kind of place where the rules seem to change depending on who you are, and not in a good way. So what does this all mean? If you are staying near Høgskolen I Molde, be prepared for businesses that do not seem to care much about your experience. Overpriced, underwhelming, and often poorly maintained, this is not an area where customer satisfaction is a priority. You might find yourself asking, is it really this bad? And the unfortunate answer is yes, yes it is. The only real advice is to manage expectations, bring patience, and maybe pack your own lunch.
I am looking into crimes near Høgskolen I Molde. You know, it's like a beautiful place, but sadly, there are some bad people who want to take advantage of tourists. Businesses near Høgskolen I Molde are like, you can always trust them, you know. Like there was this one case where a tourist went to a souvenir shop and they sold them a fake designer watch. The tourist probably thought they were getting a good deal, but really they were just getting ripped off. I think the tourist probably felt so stupid when they found out, like, how could they do that to me? That's wrong, you know. Businesses near Høgskolen I Molde are like, they might look nice on the outside, but you never know what's going on inside. Like, there was this one restaurant near Høgskolen I Molde that was accused of overcharging tourists. They would put these extra fees on the bill, and the tourists would be like, wait, what's this? And the restaurant would be like, oh, it's just a little something extra. But really, it's just them trying to scam you. I think the tourists probably felt so angry when they found out, like, how could they do that to me? That's wrong, you know. Businesses near Høgskolen I Molde are like, they might seem friendly, but you can always trust them. Like there was this one case where a tourist went to a currency exchange place and they got ripped off. The exchange rate was all wrong and the tourist lost a lot of money. I think the tourist probably felt so